We'll bring it up, Serena. The way she looked leaving the court, where she took a bow, blew kiss to the crowd. She loves Australia. We we know that. When she had her press conference, it was rather emotional, and it seemed to me that she knew. And Janine's probably going to cuss me on what I says, but to me, it seemed she knew that this is coming up. She's coming up on the end. You know what I'm saying? It's like she. So it just seems that way to me. How, because again, she could still win. She could obviously still win. She took out Halep. I mean, she took out some great players along the way, pretty damn good players along the way. She just, to me, it's like when she faces Naomi these days, she looks across, to me, Serena looks across the net and sees a younger Serena Williams when she looks at Naomi Osaka.
Of course.
That's a younger, Naomi's a younger Serena. And she's just more powerful.
And she's completely modeled her game after Serena.
Yeah, and to the point where
it's no secret. She talks about it.
Yes, and she had a poster in her room when she was growing up. She was like Serena and Venus. Naomi was self-taught. You know, her father said, "Hey, I mean, so it's interesting that they both had very similar yet unconventional paths to superstardom in tennis, which is, as we said last week, as you said, as we all know, it's a very country club, white sport, non-urban sport. Mm-hmm. And, to see that, I mean, it's just amazing how Naomi has openly, as you said, made no bones about it. Serena is her woman. That's her idol. That's her hero.
Yeah.
And she's trying to be like her in any way, shape, or form, and fashion. And good for her. So that's why
it's a good model to follow.
Yeah. And so that's why I think now it's like, it's just like, at this stage of her career now, Serena's career now, is that Naomi, I don't know if she could beat, again, this is a younger Serena Williams. I don't think she could be her younger self. I mean, she's maybe have to rely on luck of the draw, maybe like in Wimbledon and the US Open, because I think she should see Serena. I think she should skip the French Open. I think. I mean, why at this point, right? So if she
think Serena should?
I think I think so, because it's grueling. I mean, she's 39. She's great shape. Obviously, she's in great shape, but Father Time is undefeated and untied. She can't bounce back from
Serena
injuries.
Doesn't have a
Go ahead, sorry.
Serena doesn't have a heavy schedule. She's never had a heavy schedule. She designs her schedule to play the majors. So I don't really think that fatigue is a factor for her as far as getting worn out on tour.
Okay.
I think she can still beat Naomi. She's had with Naomi in a major because she's got so much pressure on her in a major. I almost think that's a different match if it was earlier in the tournament. It was the semifinal. It was another shot for Serena to play for that 24th elusive title. And I told you guys, watch for the nerves, right? Naomi came out extremely nervous. Serena went up a break right away, had a chance to go up 2 breaks and couldn't capitalize. Naomi calmed down and Serena never regained her composure. And it was really fortunate that they both didn't play at the same time. That match sucked, but I really think that Naomi, she's younger, she's fitter, she's fresher. She's always going to have a shot. But when Serena's on her game, nobody beats her. Nobody beats her. Right. We did not see the Serena Williams in that semifinal that we watched play all tournament. Didn't look anything like her. Served like shit. I told you guys, watch out for that second serve point. Hers was horrible. Horrible. Her first serve percentage was horrible. She served like 40-something%. That's not how you win matches. Serena has the one thing that you can control. The only thing in tennis that you have 100% control over is your serve. And she couldn't even do that right. I mean, it was just bad. It was just bad. And I don't know, the last time and only other time that they played not in a major was in Canada, and Serena kicked her ass. So the moment is so big and it means so much. But I'm going to tell you what I thought when Serena left court. When I saw her stop, look back, put her hand over her chest, I said, holy shit, she's about to retire.
Mm.
You know
That
what?
gave
They did
me
call
Andy
that out
Roddick.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I immediately went to Andy Roddick Wimbledon when he left for his last time. It was very similar. And immediately that's what I thought of. And I was like, she's done. She's not done now, but she's done. I mean, and it only makes sense. She's 39. We know she wants to have more children. Her eggs aren't getting any younger.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not going to play forever. I would think that if we have an Olympics, and I'll tell you, I don't think we're going to have an Olympics, but if we do, I think there's a very good chance that she retires after that, if she makes the team or after the US Open.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't think she makes it to 2022?
I don't, for what? I mean, honestly, for what? What else can she do? This woman is amazing. She has a husband. She has a child. She wants to expand her family. Time is not on her side.
Right.
She is not. I don't think that Serena is the kind of champion who is going to want to continue to go deep in a tournament and not win. She wants to win. She has said before, I don't like losing more than I enjoy winning.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm. And that comes from a person who I remember her dad, like when they first came onto the scene as teenagers, as young teenagers, that well, first it was about Venus first, then Serena came. But I remember her father, Richard Williams, said in an interview that if you think the older one is special, you haven't seen the second one.
Yep. He said she's better.
Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, not that Seven's just winning only 7 majors.
Right.
It's chopped liver.
Yeah.
I mean, winning one is tough enough, let alone 7.
It's kind of like a big deal, right?
Right. I mean, Venus won 7. That's nothing to be ashamed of. But if your little sister has 23, you know.
She's special.
Yeah, both of them are.
Yeah. I think that I think they both probably retire together, and it's going to be relatively soon.
Well, and one of the things that you mentioned, you already know, I think you pretty much already noticed, she's also, Venus and Serena, they're both fashion folks too. They have clothing lines that I think some of the tennis players on tour wear. They have a lot of shit in the pot, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Venus is very generous with her 11 line when players who don't have sponsorships, she's like, oh, here, wear my stuff. Them two will always try to sell you some shit. Believe it.
Oh man. So you say okay, so let's take a poll. Janina, you say that you don't think you think 2021, do you think this is the last year? Am I hearing you correctly?
You are. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I would, even if they didn't play singles, I would like for them to play doubles together, but they're old.
Yeah, well, so Venus is 41, right? Venus is 41, and Serena's 39, and they could both play.
I don't know.
I mean, Venus is older,
well,
but they both can still play. They both don't suck. It's just, it's father time.
No,
right? And
not by any means.
But
they've got their hands in so many other things.
Right. They're not one-dimensional. Not any of this thing. I agree with you, Janina. I think this is the last year in tennis. The way she walked off the court, that said it for me.
It broke my heart a little bit.
That said it for me. I think the Winners wasn't at the end of an awesome era in tennis, and I think she could go down. Go ahead.
Someone on my podcast said something that I really hadn't considered, that maybe she just was trying to soak in the moment because she knows that she's at the end of her career, regardless of whether or not she is thinking retirement. And Australia loves her so much, and she's always done so well there. And the crowd really was going berserk when she left. So maybe she just simply was wanting to acknowledge the crowd a little bit more, but it didn't feel to me, not in my gut.
Yeah.
For a big tennis dummy like myself, for you to say this, Jadina, for you to say it, Scott, and for me to hear the commentators say the same thing as she was walking off the court. I don't know. I'm going to have to go with the people who know more than me and agree with you guys because you guys have seen stuff that I haven't seen in terms of her walking off the court. And yeah, I noticed it too, but I just didn't have the wherewithal or the history to understand that that exactly what it is, what it could be leading towards in terms of her retiring.
Right. Yeah, that's the most heartbreaking part. So
we'll
Dwayne,
see.
so we all three think that this is Serena's last year on tour. As far as I mean,
I don't know if this is her last year, but the way that you guys are talking and what I saw,
it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's
sooner
coming towards us.
sooner now.
And the thing that concerns me the most, and this is based off of what we talked about last week and what I saw in her match last week, is the inability to mentally get over the hump now in majors. And that's becoming very concerning to me because if you're having these blocks, especially against someone that you're potentially going to have to face in the near future for the rest of, until you retire, what are you going to do? Especially for someone who hates to lose. This is someone you're going to have to figure out how to beat in these situations. And you're having mental blocks dealing with this. It's not like it's physical issues or that you're hearing about her finding ways to outplay her, which she is, but they're saying that she's outplaying her because she's having these mental blocks. So I don't know if she's going to be able to get over it. I don't.
And plus, too,
cut it out.
No, I want to. I really do, because God knows the last thing I want to have done to me again in my lifetime is to be looked at as a woman hater, especially a black woman hater. God knows. I love my mama. I do. And I love black women. And I just find it concerning, though, to hear that said about any athlete, that you have these mental blocks and you can't get over it. And then you normally hear that about younger athletes. You don't hear about you don't hear that from accomplished
But how many people face something
won.
like this?
Everyone.
How many people seriously face something like this? No. How many athletes truly are this great in face breaking the biggest record? Now that's what
Not many.
Yeah, right.
Not many. And see, that's the fun part too, because it depends upon what sport you're referring to and then what record you're referring to as well. Because if you look at basketball, unfortunately, the number is 6, where we all know that 6 ain't the number, but everyone holds. Matter of fact, it's not just 6, it's 6-0. And if you don't go 6-0 in the NBA, you're looked at as a failure, which I find laughable.
Right.
And then in the NFL, that number was what was it, 4?
It was
with
4.
Joe Montana
and Terry Bradshaw.
And Terry Bradshaw, that number was 4. Now that number's 7.
Yep.
And I'm scratching my head thinking to myself, dude, who's gonna do 7 now? I don't think it's gonna happen.
You know what?
I don't see anyone getting to 23 either.
I just, someone will do it someday because technology, right? Everything gets better. Like, who thought that Michael Phelps was able to swim the way that he swims? Technology has helped him. Stuff like that. People, it'll happen, but I just really don't understand why we cannot appreciate what we as sports fans are so incredibly lucky right now to see the crop of talent that's out there across the board. Why can we not just celebrate that, enjoy it, and let it be instead of what's next? Who's bigger? Who's better?
Right.
It's that narrative is so old and exhausting.
Right.
We don't why, Janina? It's one word, 9 letters. Unfortunately, it's childhood. Especially us of our age, the things that we've seen and the athletes that we've seen then were considered great then, right? And if anyone doesn't match what we saw then without any flaws, because think about it, Montana never lost in the Super Bowl, Bradshaw never lost in the Super Bowl, Jordan never lost in the NBA final, you have that type of stuff going on in sports, and regardless of how many you win, if you don't do it flawlessly, you looked at as, well, from this particular generation, well, those who are my age, as less than, even though what LeBron has been to what,
right,
10, 11
and it's
NBA
bullshit.
finals, and exactly right. I'm like, dude, it's a lot harder to make it to the mountaintop and lose a great amount of time than it is to only make it a couple of times and go. I mean, it's hard to go undefeated, but my God, I just had a conversation earlier today. Who did Michael Jordan really beat? But I digress. This conversation is not about Michael Jordan. This is about Serena Williams and the people who she's beaten. And I guarantee the people who she's beaten has also won Grand Slam titles as well. So that's why I'm like, can we just enjoy it, what we currently have? But unfortunately, for a lot of people, the answer is no.
Right.
Right.
And that's the thing. But one more. we're gonna close the segment out and go to the men, but we'll say this: as far as Serena goes, I mean, it takes so much sacrifice. That's another reason why I think she's not only is the greatest female tennis player, I think she's one of the greatest athletes of all time because of the amount of sacrifice at this age. I mean, she was winning a lot of her titles deep into her 30s. Who does that in tennis? No less. So I'm just saying, you gotta appreciate the grind. You gotta appreciate the hustle and the sacrifice that for her to put on this stage of her career, when she was racking up majors in the 30s. That takes a lot of nutrition, a lot of discipline, taking care of your body, work ethic. That's a lot of sacrifice. And I know we'll see things come in cycles that Janina alluded to earlier, but as far as the nearest future, we're gonna see this type of greatness for a while. I'm just gonna say it. We're not gonna see this type of greatness again, which is